Guys, my name is Oscar. I am a criminal justice major at UTRGV. I currently have over 120 hours in the criminal justice field, and I'm also enrolled in three CJ clubs. I am in CGSA, which is the Criminal Justice Student Association Club. In this club, we talk to state troopers, game wardens, ICE, border patrol, etc. They basically give us the runaround of how stuff works. I'm also in the ACGA club. It's a shooting club plus a physical training club, and I also am in Alpha Phi Sigma, which is a CJ Honors, and it's a master's club for students with a 3.4 GPA and up. Alright, for my opinion towards police officers in the community, I believe, officers have a job just like the rest of us. They enforce the law. In today's society, the media tries to portray an officer as being racist, homophobic, etc., when in reality, they're really nice people. So if you get pulled over for going maybe 5-6 miles per hour over the limit, give the officer a rational excuse, and answer their questions yes sir, no sir, and the possibilities of them giving you a verbal warning, it's going to be a lot better than if you pull out a camera, you start giving them crap, saying they're wasting your time and stuff like that. All you're doing is making their job much more frustrating, and you're just looking like an idiot on camera. Respect is key when dealing with officers. If you strongly hate officers, my suggestion to you would be just follow the law. They won't bother you, they won't talk to you, they won't even look at you. Just act like a law-abiding citizen, and they won't even bother, messing with you.
What is my opinion on police officers? Well, my opinion on police officers is that I strongly believe that they are people who are very kind, generous, and strong. The reason why I believe that is because if there is ever a time where there is an accident or an incident or any type of event or something that's occurring, the police officer will always show up at any time. Doesn't matter if it's 1 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, whenever, they will always show up and be there to guide you and to help any person out. They also are those type of people who will risk their lives for ours, which is very important, and I find that really kind of them, and that just shows how they really have a big heart for their community. Also, police officers may be intimidating or mean sometimes, but if you give them respect, kindness, and truthfulness, they will give you that in return.
Okay, so my initial opinion towards cops is really kind of blurred. I don't have an actual opinion on them. On one hand, I think there's a lot of good cops out there, fair people, fair men and women who are serving our populace and whatnot and doing what they're supposed to be doing, but there's a lot of cops out there as well that abuse their power very heavily and they get really drunk off of it, and you see a lot of that in the media, so it obviously taints your perception of cops. So recently I've had kind of a more negative view towards them just because of everything that's happening, but I tend not to try and generalize them, so I realize that there's a lot of really good cops out there as well. It's just kind of hard to form an opinion on them when there's so much happening in the world today. It really bifurcates what you want to think about them. But if I had to say anything, I'd say that they're alright.
Bad cops give the good cops a bad reputation, so there really isn't a way to change the view on them unless they prove themselves worthy of the trust.
I don't know, I like some cops I don't. Some cops they understand more about the situation, some don't really care and they're just upright. How can I say this? Mean, I guess, yeah.
In my opinion, honestly, I just feel like cops are just given a bad name and a bad reputation just because of the things that they have done in the past. There's cops that makes mistakes. Humans make mistakes. Cops are humans too. People just think that a cop, since that person is a cop, he's superior and he's smarter and he knows things better just because he went to school to be a cop and he knows the law and he knows the amendments, and just people criticize cops anyways. And I just feel like that's just our problem. Our problem is, as people and as citizens, we see all these bad things that people put on social media, and people exposing a cop, or this cop is doing something bad, this cop is doing something wrong and something against the law, when the cop is just doing what he thinks is best for the citizens around the city or the area or whatever. When they're arresting someone, they're arresting and detaining that person maybe because he broke the law, or maybe because he's afraid, or he or she is afraid that that person might do something or might hurt someone, or they might assault someone, they might kidnap someone, they might do something like shoot, guns. You never know. As a human, you never know what to expect. And cops, they don't know what to expect. Cops, they just follow their instincts. And as humans, we follow our instincts.
Okay, my opinion on cops is that not all cops are bad. In general, not all cops are bad, but it's just that I think some of them are just trigger happy. Like they just want to pull out a gun and shoot someone. I think the anxiety, not anxiety, but like they're anxious to pull out something. They want action, and that's my opinion. But in general, they just want to keep everybody safe. That's it.
So in the beginning, the way I felt about cops was leaning towards a negative feeling because what the media has made me like see and whatever they choose to like portray, like all of the headlines or whatever, is just like bashing on officers, showing the people the negative sides of it. So I had a really bad attitude towards them. But after I met one of them and I actually got to talk to them, I was able to like realize that, they're human too, they're people, and their initial goal is to like just keep the public safe. No one's here to attack anyone. They're just here to keep order. So if you actually get to know them, you get to realize that we all have lives and we're all out here, just trying to be good to each other. So I think my views on officers have really shifted to a more positive attitude.
I think the media portrays the cops in a very negative manner when in reality there's a bunch of good cops out there that are doing their job.
My opinion on police officers. There's some that are good, there's some that are bad. I feel like some of them take advantage of the way they or how they're officers, and they can just harm people. And the ones that are good, I think they risk their lives and actually put effort into their job and help others. But I can't hate a cop or I can't like a cop because there's a 50-50 that are good and there's another 50-50 that are bad. So I don't really have that much to say about them, but I feel like police officers can do better as police officers, and they can actually learn how to, communicate with others and better themselves of being cops and figure out ways to help the community.
I think cops are good. I mean, they're the police of the cities and the police of the towns, and I think they do get a bad name, especially with all the police brutality that's been going on. But in instances like the Florida Parkland shooting, where the police officers, the deputy, did nothing, and he's considered a coward by a lot of the Republicans and a lot of conservatives because he didn't do anything, but those who shoot a black unarmed man are heroes of the city. That doesn't really make any sense to me, and I think a lot more training should be involved for the cops, and I think that they should get training both for in combat, in the sense that if they're going against someone that is armed and going against someone that is dangerous versus someone who only has a bag of Skittles. I think there should be a major difference, and those who do end up killing someone who is unarmed or defending themselves in a situation where they don't really need defending, they're just scared, they should get the same amount of punishment as someone who is just a regular citizen and not a police officer. But cops overall, I think they're good. They become cops because they want to protect. They become cops because they want to do their country good.
My point of view on cops, I see them as our protectors of our cities. I see them the ones trying to keep drugs off the street and keep our children safe. My point of view on them is they're just doing their job. When people misinterpret that, it causes big problems and makes them look like the villains when they're actually the superhero behind it all. They're the ones who pull the strings. They're the ones who keep the drugs away from students, away from teens like us who just want to get our hands on anything, and predators out there can harm us without us even knowing, and the cops are just doing their jobs to protect us. And that's my point of view on cops.
I think that most cops are okay. Some of them are kind of corrupt, but a majority of the time they're just kind of doing their job, and that's about it.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Calzada. I'm a freshman at Thomas Jefferson, and my opinion on cops is that there's a lot of people that abuse their power, especially when it comes to immigrants coming from Mexico. And I mean, I think in general cops have have a misunderstanding of what their role in the community is. I understand there's a lot of good cops, but they use their power in society as something very negative, especially when it comes to minorities. Like me, I'm a Mexican, so I was born in Mexico, so it's kind of really hard to see a cop, and especially a lot of my family that are undocumented. It's really hard for them to just see a cop. They get really nervous. So my opinion on cops in general are their views on society and cop behavior is very negative, and especially towards minorities.
Well, my opinion on cops is very two-sided, as I believe some cops are good, but others tend to take too much advantage of their powers, take advantage over the citizens. Like, we citizens have rights, but some cops tend to overlook that, and they just want the citizens to pay attention to everything they say, when sometimes they are wrong, but they keep bugging that they are right. But like I said, not all cops do that. There are some cops that understand that we have humans, we have our rights, that we have the right to defend ourselves, and they agree with that. Well, like I said, there's cops that they don't care about that. They're just gonna keep pushing and pushing and pushing for you to do what they say, and honestly, it's not only just annoying, but it's also against our rights, the law, and abuse of power.
So personally, I think law enforcement throughout the country has faced criticism because of, I guess you could say, being racist. Now, although I guess you could say like the poverty levels are different in each community, I do think that does affect a police officer's opinion. So for example, if you look at Detroit, I mean, most of their crimes are by African Americans, and whether it be the poverty line or like the area that a police officer is patrolling, I think if a police officer sees the statistics behind that city, and a police officer that's going to pull someone over that's African American is obviously going to be more cautious, opposed to an Anglo American who isn't included in the statistics. However, I guess eventually once you see that on the news and stuff, people do form a description on police officers, whether it be bad, whether it be good. But I mean, it's completely different once you're in the officer's position. So, thank you.
Oh, my name is George, and today I was asked this simple question: what do you think about police officers in the United States? Well, simply enough, I think they're doing a good job, but the way that they do things, like their methodology behind it, is way off. People end up getting killed in most cases when there shouldn't be any deaths at all. I think this has to do with the fear within police officers in this nation, feeling unsafe, having to rely on a weapon for protection. And I do think in some cases it's necessary, but for the most part, I think it's the wrong way to go. And this also begs the question, do they really have the privilege of protecting this nation?
What I just showed you is the opinions of some people in the community. The question they were asked is, what is your opinion on police officers? While some had a positive viewpoint on police officers, others had a negative viewpoint. My goal is to be able to change their viewpoints.